Almost 85% of car owners are sitting on features and tricks built right into their vehicles, and they have absolutely no idea. We're talking about things that could save you hundreds of dollars at the mechanic, protect your car from damage you didn't even know was happening, and make every single drive smoother and easier. And one trick on this list, number 3 specifically, can save you from a $3,000 engine repair that most people don't see coming until it's too late. Here are 10 brilliant car hacks you 100% need to know. Let's begin now with hack number 10. Hack number 10. Adjust your windshield washer nozzles with a pin. You've probably noticed your windshield washer fluid shooting way too high, spraying over the roof of your car, or hitting the glass only at the very bottom edge where it barely does anything. Most people just live with it. They figure it's how the car was made and there's nothing they can do about it. But here's what they don't tell you. Those tiny nozzles on your hood are adjustable, and it takes about 30 seconds and literally 0 tools except a straight pin or a sewing needle. What's happening physically is that inside each nozzle, there's a tiny ball joint. The hole at the top is pointed in a fixed direction, but that ball can rotate. You just push the pin into the spray hole and gently nudge the nozzle in the direction you want the fluid to go. Aim for about 2/3 of the way up your windshield. That gives the fluid room to spread across the whole glass as your wipers push it down. Do one small adjustment, run the washer fluid, check the spray pattern, and fine-tune from there. Takes maybe 3 tries total. Here's the kicker. On many newer vehicles with hood-mounted cameras or sensors for lane-keeping assist, a misaligned nozzle can actually spray directly onto the camera lens. That can cause your safety systems to malfunction at random. So, this isn't just about visibility, it's about keeping your car's electronics working the way they're supposed to. But wait, if that hidden feature just blew your mind, this next trick could save you from a seriously embarrassing moment on the road. Hack number 9. Find which side your gas cap is on, every time. In any car. If you've ever pulled up to a gas pump, stepped out, and realized your tank is on the complete opposite side from where you parked, you know that feeling. It's especially bad when you're driving a rental, a borrowed car, or a vehicle you just bought. You look like you've never pumped gas in your life. Here's how it actually works. Look at your fuel gauge on the dashboard. Right next to the little gas pump icon, there is a small arrow or triangle. That arrow points directly to the side of the car where your fuel cap is located. Left arrow, cap is on the left. Right arrow, cap is on the right. This has been a standard feature on nearly every car made since the early 2000s, and studies show that a huge percentage of drivers have never once noticed it. The reason it's there is actually pretty practical. Fleet managers and rental companies pushed automakers to add it so that employees driving multiple different vehicles wouldn't constantly have to pull forward and reposition at the pump. So now every car has it, and almost nobody uses it. Here's the kicker. Next time you're in a parking garage and you can't remember which side you filled up from, you don't have to walk around the car in the dark. Just sit down, glance at the dash, and you've got your answer in 2 seconds. You'd be very much surprised by this next myth, because almost every driver gets this completely backwards. Hack number 8. Warm up your engine by driving gently, not by idling. On cold mornings, millions of drivers sit in their driveways letting the engine idle for 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes before they drive anywhere. The idea is that the engine needs time to warm up before it can handle real driving. And sure, that made sense back in the 1980s when carbureted engines genuinely needed it. But here's the deal. Modern fuel-injected engines, which is basically every car built after 1990, don't need that. In fact, long idling can actually hurt them. When your engine idles cold, fuel doesn't burn as cleanly. Some of that unburned fuel can wash down the cylinder walls, stripping away the thin layer of oil that protects your pistons. Over time, this causes premature cylinder wear. The EPA has tested this, and their recommendation is clear. 30 seconds of idling is plenty for a modern engine. After that, just drive, but drive gently. Keep your RPMs under 2000 for the first 5 minutes. That's it. What this gentle driving actually does is circulate warm oil through the engine much faster than sitting still does. Your engine reaches operating temperature quicker, your catalytic converter heats up faster and burns cleaner, and you're not wasting gas sitting in your driveway. According to AAA, the average driver who idles for 10 minutes every cold morning burns through about $200 worth of extra fuel per year for zero benefit. Here's the kicker. On modern engines, the coolant temperature gauge reaching the middle of the dial is your green light. That's when the engine is fully warm and you can drive normally. You don't need a clock. Just watch the gauge. Trust me, this next one will shock you, especially if you've ever ignored a dashboard warning light. Hack number 7. Reset your tire pressure warning light yourself in under 2 minutes. Your TPMS light, that little yellow horseshoe symbol on your dashboard, is one of the most misunderstood lights in any car. A lot of drivers think the moment that light comes on, they need to head straight to the dealer. Some shops charge $50 to $100 just to reset it after they've already fixed the tire. But on most vehicles, you can reset it yourself for free in your driveway right now. First, make sure your tires are actually at the correct pressure. Check your driver's door jamb sticker for the exact number, usually somewhere between 32 and 36 psi for most passenger cars. Fill every tire to that number, including the spare if your car has one, because some systems monitor that too. Then, with the car running, find the TPMS reset button. On many Honda, Toyota, and Nissan models, it's under the steering wheel, sometimes behind a small panel. Hold it down for about 3 seconds until the TPMS light blinks 3 times. Then drive at 50 miles per hour for about 10 minutes. The system recalibrates itself, and the light goes off. On some newer vehicles like certain BMW and Mercedes models, you do this through the infotainment menu under Tire Service or Reset Tire Pressure. Your owner's manual has the exact path, and it takes about 90 seconds. Here's the kicker. If the light comes back on within a day or two after you've reset it, that means there's a slow leak somewhere. At that point, a can of Fix-A-Flat in 10 minutes is usually enough to plug a small puncture, and that can cost less than $15 at any gas station. A tire shop patch job runs about $25 to $40. Compare that to a full tire replacement at $150 to $300 per tire, and catching it early with this simple reset trick just saved you real money. Now, for a secret car feature that'll make life easier than you'd ever expect. Hack number 6. Use your car's visor mirror to parallel park perfectly every time. Parallel parking is stressful for almost everyone. Most drivers either go way too wide and end up 3 feet from the curb, or they cut in too sharp and clip the bumper of the car behind them. Here's the fix, and it doesn't involve a backup camera or parking sensors, just your passenger side sun visor. Open the passenger sun visor and flip down the mirror on it. Now, when you're backing into the space, glance at that mirror instead of craning your neck around. The angle gives you a clear, close-up view of your passenger side rear tire and exactly how close it is to the curb. You can see in real time whether your tire is about to mount the curb or if you still have room to pull in tighter. Most driving instructors don't teach this trick because it's honestly a little old school, and newer cars have sensors that do the job. But on any car without parking sensors, or in a situation where your sensors are acting up, this works perfectly every single time. It works because the visor mirror is angled slightly downward, which gives you a ground-level view of that rear corner of your car. Your rear view mirror and side mirrors can't show you that angle. Here's the kicker. If you tilt the passenger side mirror slightly downward before you start backing in, you get the same view from your door mirror. Many drivers do both at the same time and nail the parking spot on the very first try. If you've made it this far, we'd really appreciate you hitting that like button. It helps us make more car tips videos just like this one. Thank you. Wait until you hear about this next hidden gem, because this one involves something you do every single time you start your car. Hack number 5. Pump your brakes once before driving on a wet morning. You walk out to your car after it's been sitting overnight in the rain, or after washing it, and you start driving. The first time you hit the brakes, there's a brief grinding or scraping sound, and the pedal feels slightly soft for a split second. That's surface rust forming on your brake rotors overnight. It's a thin layer, but it's there on every car every single morning in wet or humid conditions. Here's how it actually works. Your brake rotors are made of iron, and iron oxidizes fast when it's wet. Just a few hours of moisture can build up enough surface rust to create that rough patch. It goes away after the first 1 or 2 stops, which is why most people never notice it. By the time you're out of your neighborhood, the rotors are clean. But here's what they don't tell you. If you make your first stop of the day a hard one, like at a busy intersection or a light that suddenly turns red, you're braking on that rough surface at a moment when you need maximum stopping power. On most modern vehicles, doing one slow, gentle brake pump at about 5 to 10 miles per hour in your driveway or parking lot clears that surface rust before you need your brakes to work hard. It takes 3 seconds. Here's the kicker. If you drive a car that's been sitting for more than 3 or 4 days without being moved, the rust layer is thicker. On some vehicles left for a week or more, particularly in humid climates, you might hear a noticeable clunk or scraping for the first few stops. That's normal, but it's a sign your rotors may be due for inspection if it happens regularly even after short rest periods. A rotor replacement runs $200 to $400 per axle, and catching wear early keeps that number from doubling. But wait, if that hidden feature just blew your mind, this next trick is one that Toyota and Honda engineers specifically designed in. and most owners have never used it once. Hack number 4. Use your key fob to fully ventilate your car before you get in. In the middle of summer, your parked car can reach internal temperatures of 130 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. You get in, crank the AC, and spend the first 5 minutes sweating through your shirt while the car slowly cools down. There's a better way, and it's built right into millions of cars already on the road. On many Honda, Toyota, Volkswagen, and Hyundai vehicles, and most European luxury brands, you can hold down the unlock button on your key fob for 3 to 5 seconds, and the car will automatically roll down all the windows and open the sunroof if you have one. The car's ventilation system kicks in and hot air escapes before you even open the door. By the time you get in and start the car, the interior is already 20 to 30 degrees cooler, and the AC only needs to drop the temperature a fraction of the way. The way this works mechanically is that your key fob sends a signal to your BCM, that's your body control module, which is the computer that manages your windows, locks, and sunroof. The BCM runs a comfort ventilation sequence that manufacturers first introduced in Germany, where summer temperatures in parking garages get brutal. Here's the kicker. You can also use this in reverse on cold mornings. On some vehicles, holding the lock button runs the defrost and rear window heater remotely. Combined with your car's remote start feature, you can have a fully defrosted, ventilated car ready before you step outside. Check your owner's manual under Key Fob Functions. It's listed there, and most dealers never mention it. You'd be very much surprised by this next one, because it involves a button almost every driver presses wrong. Hack number 3. Use your AC's recirculation mode correctly to protect your engine and your lungs. Most drivers either leave the recirculation button on all the time, or leave it off all the time, and both of those habits are actually wrong, and one of them can cost you up to $3,000 in repairs if it goes bad enough. Here's how recirculation actually works. When recirculation is off, your AC is pulling in fresh outside air and cooling it. When it's on, the system loops the air already inside your cabin and recools it. Recirculation mode cools your car faster and makes the AC more efficient in hot weather. That's when you want it on. But if you leave it on too long in cold or damp weather, you get a serious problem. That recirculated air gets loaded with moisture from you and your passengers breathing. Your windows fog up from the inside, and your visibility drops dangerously fast. Worse, in stop-and-go traffic or tunnels, recirculation mode keeps carbon monoxide and exhaust fumes trapped inside your car instead of flushing them out. Studies have shown CO levels inside vehicles with recirculation on in heavy traffic can exceed safe limits within minutes. The correct approach: turn recirculation on when you first get in on a hot day to cool the car fast. After about 10 minutes, switch it off to bring in fresh air. In winter, always keep it off so your defroster has dry outside air to work with. That's what clears the glass. Here's the kicker: the $3,000 connection. When windows repeatedly fog from the inside because recirculation is misused, many drivers instinctively crank the heat and blower to compensate. That extra stress on the HVAC blower motor and evaporator, combined with trapped moisture causing mold growth inside the AC system, can lead to a full evaporator replacement. That job at a dealership runs $1,200 to $3,000 depending on your vehicle. Knowing when to hit one button prevents all of that. Now, for a secret car feature that most people find out about by accident, usually at the worst possible time. Hack number 2. Use your emergency brake to break free from frozen brakes in winter. It's a January morning. Your regular brakes worked fine when you parked last night, but overnight temperatures dropped to the single digits, and now your rear brakes are frozen to the rotors. The car won't move. Most people panic and either rev the engine hard trying to force the car free, which risks damaging your drivetrain, or they call a tow truck for a problem they could have solved themselves. Here's the deal. First, don't try to power through it by flooring the gas. That can shear a frozen brake pad right off the rotor or damage your axle joints. Instead, start the car and let it idle for 2 full minutes, just enough for the exhaust heat to begin warming the undercarriage. Then, gently and repeatedly apply and release the emergency brake, not the foot brake, the hand brake. The emergency brake on most rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive vehicles operates the rear brakes through a separate cable mechanism. That repeated tension and release action works the ice loose mechanically without the same stress as spinning your wheels. On many modern vehicles where the parking brake is electric, you'll find a manual release procedure in your owner's manual that achieves the same effect. Look for a small slot near the parking brake switch where you can insert a flathead screwdriver for mechanical override. Here's the kicker. You can prevent frozen brakes entirely on most nights you know it'll drop below 20 degrees. Before you park, drive slowly to a dry patch of road and apply your brakes firmly 3 or 4 times. That heat from braking evaporates surface moisture on your rotors before you park. Dry rotors don't freeze. It takes 10 seconds and saves you a potentially embarrassing morning. And now we've reached hack number 1, and this one affects every single car owner, every single time they fill up, and almost nobody does it right. Hack number 1, stop topping off your gas tank. It's damaging your car right now. This is the one that most people are absolutely certain they're not doing wrong. You pull up to the pump, the automatic shutoff clicks, and then you squeeze just a little bit more in to round up to a nice number. Maybe 5, 10, 15 extra clicks of the handle. It seems harmless. It feels satisfying. But here's what they don't tell you. You are actively destroying a component in your car called the evaporative emissions canister, or EVAP canister, every single time you do it. Here's how it actually works. Your fuel tank is a sealed system with a charcoal-filled canister attached to it. That canister's job is to absorb fuel vapors so they don't vent into the atmosphere. When you top off your tank, you're forcing liquid gasoline into a component that was only designed to handle vapor. The liquid fuel saturates the charcoal inside the canister and permanently ruins its ability to absorb anything. Once that canister is saturated, your car fails emissions testing. Your check engine light comes on, and here's the painful part. A new EVAP canister at a dealership costs between $200 and $600, plus labor. Independent shops charge $150 to $400 in most cities. According to the EPA, fuel topping off is one of the leading causes of EVAP system failure in vehicles under 10 years old, and it voids the emissions warranty on many vehicles because manufacturers specifically list it as driver-caused damage. The fix is simple. When the pump clicks off the first time, you're done. That's a full tank. The pump shutoff is calibrated to leave just enough expansion room in the tank for temperature changes throughout the day. You're not losing anything by stopping there. Here's the kicker. Beyond the canister damage, forcing extra fuel in on a hot day can actually cause fuel to overflow back up the filler neck and drip onto the ground. You're paying for fuel that evaporates on the pavement or gets trapped in the canister. You're literally spending money to damage your car. Stop at the first click every single time, and you've just protected yourself from one of the most common and most preventable repairs on the road. And that's all 10 brilliant car hacks. So here's my question for you. Which one of these did you already know? Drop the number in the comments. If you knew number 1, drop a 1. If number 3 surprised you, drop a 3. I want to know which one got you. And if you want more practical car tips that save you real money, subscribe right now. We put out new videos every week, and some of the stuff coming up next will genuinely change how you think about maintaining your car. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it.